representative of Minnesota Micro Motors. I'm here today to discuss my strategies on how I conduct my business. First off, I'm going to show you my dashboard stuff, which consists of the market share, my segment A, B, C, D, and small customers. A, B, C, D is of course the large. We also have the segment share here, which you can see I focus primarily on large customers. Orange is large, blue are small customers. Here's my quarterly revenue for each. Here's the scale of unit sales. My profit margin, as you see, continuously increases. Average prices tends to bounce here and there until I figure out exactly what I wanted. And here's my spending on features. As you see, my power to size, I spent a lot more on my thermal because that was my primary focus as far as making sales went. Now we're going to move to the net prices tab. This simply shows all 5 of my segments and basically me and my competitors, which me is the dark line, my competitors are the light line, and it shows in each segment where I spent my dollars per unit. Here's the customer purchases tab. As you see, as I said before, my large customers was my primary focus, so it had a large increase while the small had a tiny bit of a decrease, which didn't really affect us when it came to profits. Here's segment A, segment B, segment C, and segment D. It shows primarily A and primarily D was where I was getting most of my sales. Probably because segment B is my competitors' loyal customers. A little more difficult to grab them. And segment C, which is those in the open market, not too loyal to particularly anyone. Opposed to A, which is loyal customers to us, Minnesota Micro Motors, and D, which is the price sensitive group, which we also targeted quite a bit. As you see, the unit sales graph and the unit sales data, I'll just show you real fast that my primary focus was existing customers in the large customer segment. We almost, I would say probably 5 times as much as we did when we started 4 years ago. That was pretty good considering we reached our objective. Here's the income statement part. Basically, just keep an eye on your revenue, your gross margin, total operating expenses, net income, and the cumulative profit is shown here from quarter to quarter. And as you see, I reached my goal of 8 million by quarter 4 of 2015. Here's the market research tab, basically showing our power to size ratio and thermal resistance on a scale of max degrees per Celsius or watts per cubic inch, going down a timeline type thing. My feature performance, product performance, as I mentioned before, the dark blue line is us. We spent more on our power to size ratio than our competitors, and we spent less on our thermal than our competitors. The customer satisfaction tab basically shows you what your customers are satisfied or dissatisfied about. By clicking here, they tell you what you need to fix, or what you need to keep doing right. Moving on to the Salesforce report. As you see, I focused on segments A and D, for those are our primary customers, and my Salesforce didn't particularly spend too much time with segments B and C. If we would have, we probably would have had negative profits, no profits. And the news tab just basically tells us we increased by 4% on our existing, decreased by 2% on new customers. Distributors are on an average achieving 5% profit, and I think that works for us and them. They were primarily happy the whole time, and so was I, so we left it there. To wrap up my presentation, here's just a series of decisions that I had made in my history. The most basic thing to point out is I started my price at $136, and each quarter I raised it $1 or $2 until we ultimately, roughly 3-4 years later, we had a $145 price. And that's about the gist of it. So I appreciate you coming to join me on this segment today, and I enjoyed doing this for you, and hopefully it benefits you as it benefited me. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.